The police are not allowed to come here. What? I've also asked locals how they feel about foreigners moving in. Okay, hello. We are doing another neighborhood walk. This is the neighborhood, the Barrio of Cuxtitali. You saw my video on Barrio San Ramon. This is like the polar opposite. Cuxtitali is different. And it's really hard for me to explain what I love about this barrio. So let's just walk around. Let's just see the things. And maybe you'll see it too. We're walking on Franz Blom, Calle Franz Blom. Couple of hotels. So many tiny tiendas, like almost one after the other. Papeleria. Essentially for like school supplies, art supplies, birthday wrapping paper, Christmas wrapping paper, that kind of thing. They always smell so good, but I swear they're never open. Okay, so one of the things I always love about barrios in general here in San Cris, maybe in all of Mexico, I have no idea. They have everything you need from a local perspective. And what I mean by local perspective is, especially in Cuxtitali and even in my neighborhood, you're not gonna find ATMs here, you're not gonna find banks. What you will find are a million tiny little stores that have whatever quirk the owner wants in there. Sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't. There's a lot of restaurants here that open when they feel like it. This place has a mix of aesthetics when it comes to like Airbnbs and rentals. There's one Airbnb in particular that I love here, but I might be slightly biased, just to be honest. Super fun random fact about this place. The police are not allowed to come here. What? So this is still considered San Cris. Like, we have not left the city. We are within the periférico. But the police are not allowed to come here because the Cuxtitali neighborhood likes to handle their own business. Now, on the one hand, this can be terrifying. Who protects the people? But on another hand, you know how in the US, on Sundays, you suddenly crave Chick-fil-A, but they're not open on Sundays, like ever? Here, it's not consistent, but I would say Mondays, you have a good chance that a restaurant that you love will be closed. And wouldn't it be that Mondays are the days I almost always want to go out to eat? So apparently in Cuxtitali, the people take care of the people. Basically. This can play out in multiple formats, so I'm not saying it's perfectly the safest place in the world, but it's actually considered one of the more safe neighborhoods. I asked a local friend how she would describe Cuxtitali, and she said it's like its own city, which I kind of agree with. So down there, in what looks like the middle of nowhere, is probably one of my favorite local restaurants. Slightly embarrassing to mention, but when talking to my local friend, I said La Pergola was a perfect example that this barrio wants foreigners. A restaurant that is clearly enticing for foreigners. To which she responded, or they're making a restaurant that's amazing for the residents. Like, not that they mind that a foreigner does come occasionally, especially, you know, it's me and Alex, it's 2 people, it's 3 people, whatever, but they certainly would not be happy if the entire restaurant was overtaken by foreigners. Again, this is my friend's perception. I did not ask La Pergola themselves. My friend explained this place by saying that it's a place where the children, like, curse. They have their own, like the people, not just the kids, but everyone has kind of like their own sense of identity and they do their own thing. And so they don't really need or feel the need for the police. So I don't know if you can tell, but on the right side, everything is kind of higher. And on the left side, everything goes lower. And I'm super curious if it was always this way, so if it was always uneven, or if something sank. Barber shop. I understand correctly, the neighborhood is fixing this because that's kind of what the neighborhood does. I wish I had a before picture. Okay, so we have a choice of roads. We're gonna go this way. Okay, so as you may or may not know, the Chiapas is one of the least affluent states of all of Mexico, and so we've got a lot of people who are just not able to make ends meet. So this organization is super cool. Its intention is to help out those in need, and one of the ways they do it is by selling artisan products that the constituents of the neighborhood make, specifically the women, and they allow the women to go there almost like a thrift store concept where they barter. Instead of having to pay for clothing or pay for products, they can barter for products. They can trade, they can teach a class, they can help take care of the building. Like it's a really great outreach program for the locals to be able to help themselves. Okay, so they're closed today because, you know, Monday. That restaurant, super yummy, but if you follow Google Maps, it will lead you astray. It'll tell you that it's down this road, but it's not. It's right there, the name of the road. Okay, so there, that's where it is. I hate when Google Maps is wrong, like, hate. So behind the school is the church. I'm assuming there had to be lots of like vandalism because like every little spot is locked. That's the back of the school. There's the centro and their church. And so up that street is one of my favorite dessert places. I'll show you a video in a second. I'm a fan of going inside churches. If it's empty, I'll just go in and I will record. If I feel like there's somebody who works there, I will ask them if it's okay to take a video because a lot of people do not like it. So this particular church told me no. As I was leaving, so I walked in, got close, and then I left. As I was leaving, a patron was coming in, and this is the type of church where people will approach the front on their knees. While it's interesting for me to see, and I think it's very rude to record, even if I had permission, but nonetheless, they're talking to God, like honestly. They're having a moment, they're having a chit chat, not with me, so it's not really the time to record, but I do recommend if you come to San Cris, go inside the churches, even if you're not necessarily religious, because this is a unique place in that almost every time I go into a church, somebody is worshiping, somebody is praying, heavily praying. If that makes sense. And it's very heartbreaking sometimes to see, but it's also very, like, it's a side of prayer that you just don't see visually represented in the US a lot. So I think it's just a school now. Okay, so truth, this is the farthest east I've ever been. I'm not 100% on how far east I will go, but definitely not past the Periférico. Okay. Okay. I think this will take me back to kind of the main roads. Also avoid this side because there's hills and I am a wuss for hills. So I'm supposed to be 3 minutes walk away from the Cuxtitali Park, which a couple of people have recommended for a play area. Church. I'm gonna do a full Google Translate later, but I think it might have said report things to the authority. I did not see the word peligroso, but you know, Spanish. I do want to note here that even though I'm going to a place that I've never been before, I am a single mom. I like to think of myself as a responsible single mom. So I've been in San Cris for almost 10 months now. Wow, 11, time flies. Anyway, I didn't immediately come to this area because some people do say it's dangerous. And I wanted to know more information. I'm not saying for you to come here because this literally is my first time on going this far east, but I think it'll be okay. I wonder if this is it. Small little park. From here it looks pretty clean. It's a little far off the beaten path for me to ever schedule like an official play date here, but I don't think it looks bad at this point. Alex would totally be a fan of all these little dogs I find. I have to duck my head to not get hit. It is a hot day in May and I wish I could walk under all of these little things, but I can't because it's too low. Like literally I'll hit my head and I don't want to like walk stooped the whole time. Should have brought a hat. I'm literally gonna hit my head. Like what do I do? I'm seeing a lot of auto mechanic places here, small business auto mechanics, as opposed to the big kind of box store names. Okay, so I just went home literally to get my hat and also to wait an hour because it's too hot. I heard a rumor that police cannot come to Cuxtitali.
Oh, that's good to know because
oh, so you don't know?
I didn't know that. But now you're saying that, I've never seen a police car. So what do I like about Cuxtitali?
Sí.
I think the neighbor is pretty authentic. You don't have so many tourists like going around like in downtown. You can just come and talk to them, and they're very open. I feel like I'm closer to the city, to the local people. Because I'm not from here, you know, yeah. I'm from Guadalajara. So I feel like it is a little bit more authentic than the rest of the city.
It's almost like its own city, its own culture. Exactly. On this side. So for me, the only negative is there's no ATMs. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's like almost a rural part of the city. There's not always street like this. And sometimes you have a huge fields. For my dog, it's perfect.
What's the name of your YouTube channel again?
It's called Diario a Rayas. You can check it out. It's in Spanish.
We met at book club, so that's how I know Osvaldo. So that's where we met. Thank you so much. Almost every day that I go out for any length of time, I see somebody I know. That was Osvaldo. Cool guy, very, very smart. I'm kind of retracing a little bit of my steps because now that it's 6, a couple things should be open. You need picture frames. That's a great place to get your pictures framed if you want. And then next door to it, this place, there's no sign, there's no anything, there's no Google Maps, but I believe they make furniture because when I walk down here, a lot of times I'm seeing furniture coming and going. So I have a suspicion it's a carpenter. So they can make you like t-shirts and personalized mugs. And now we're gonna veer away a minute, just a minute from Cuxtitali and go to Barrio de las Delicias, which means like delights, the neighborhood of delights. I really don't know anything about this history, but I'm gonna have to go up this hill. This is the hill on my worst mom video. The things I do for you guys, because I wanna visit a little place that's up here. Look at that. This area is like all hills. If you choose to live here, you're gonna have great legs. More steps.
Okay, beautiful views. I also can't take the best pictures because there's a lot of kids playing, but we are up on a hill. We've got beautiful views. Like, I would hate to live in this particular barrio because of all the hills, but it's beautiful. So many just beautiful little nooks and crannies. All parts of this little neighborhood requires hills and steps. I've been noticing a lot of crosses with that type of decoration. I'm not sure what that means. We're going downhill now. So it's kind of weird because the parts of Cuxtitali that I'm familiar with, again, west of the Periférico, is not very hilly. And so it's funny that right kind of in the middle, suddenly we have hills. I don't know exactly where I'm going, but I'm pretty sure I'll end up back in Cuxtitali again. So we're back on Ejército Nacional. So I call this Ejército Nacional Calle, the name of the street, but I think technically the name has changed at this point. I'll double check later. I'm gonna go backwards just a sec to show you Madonna Mia. And there it is, Madonna Mia. Hold on, there's like a drunk guy next to me. Okay, so Karen loves Madonna Mia. She loves their pizza. I am on the opposite spectrum. I actually really don't enjoy anything I've had there, except for the wine. They have a house wine, red wine, that I just love. Okay, so let me show you this Airbnb here in Cuxtitali that I love. I'm absolutely biased because the person who rents it is my friend. Honestly, it's just gorgeous. It's a quiet and safe neighborhood. The house is roomy and airy, and I love the plants, the green, and the amazing sunlight and the views from the balcony. Guys, I've been to a lot of Airbnbs. These aesthetics are rare to find, especially in San Cris. You have a full fridge, which honestly I miss having, and all the fixings that you'll need in the kitchen. You have a washer and dryer. Three bedrooms with large, comfy beds. Bathrooms have hot water. You've got a smart TV, you've got strong internet, board games, and a weekly housekeeper and someone to water the plants. I mean, honestly, what more can you ask for? I absolutely love this. And so Cuxtitali is just, I don't know how to explain it, but it's a lovely neighborhood. It's beautiful. It's got a variety of people. I like that they handle their own. I like that they take care of themselves. That being said, for all, you know, Team Blue, if you will, there are complaints. So when I first got here back in July, there was a huge, I guess I'll use the word disruption. There was a burning of a house and fighting amongst two groups. I cannot confirm what type of groups these were, but I'm told it's a water fight. So as you might know, San Cris unfortunately has a lack of water problem. I have not myself dealt with any repercussions of this, but the further out you go, the more problems there apparently are. Cuxtitali, I am told, and I don't think it's all of Cuxtitali, by the way, but a large portion of it anyway, has their own water source. They have their own wells, so it's not city water. And so I guess because it's not city controlled, there is sometimes a fight amongst who gets to control the water. When I first got here, there were legit fights right outside the Periférico. And it encompassed a little bit, I think, of Cuxtitali and a little bit of La Garita neighborhood. Again, apparently houses being burnt down, etc. I believe these were targeted homes. I don't think they were random, but I would read the comments, which of course are all in Spanish, so I'm using Google Translate. It's half and half, right? Some people are really glad to have kind of their own city, if you will, to be able to handle their own issues. But as you can imagine, Anyone that feels on the losing side or the unprotected side really wishes the police could come over there. So, very unique environment. Again, for the west side, if you will, of Cuxtitali, I don't hear any problems. And more importantly, I've walked there many times. It seems very safe. I've asked several locals if they've had any issues, and they all tell me no. You can only know for sure if you live there, but there is a vibe, there is a magic to that side. I've also asked locals how they feel about foreigners moving in, specifically to Cuxtitali, and a lot of them lean on the no side. There's also Airbnb, meaning there's a mix of opinions on this. They've got a handful of restaurants that people really recommend. I really love La Pergola and the Hoja de Luna. Favorite restaurants for sure. Some people love Madonna Mia. Yeah, there's a lot to say for this barrio. I would say all the expats I know that live in Cuxtitali tell me things like, you gotta act like a local here. Something to keep in mind. Again, acting like a local doesn't necessarily mean anything super dramatic. It just kind of means don't be a Karen. Or more accurately, be exactly like Karen from Mom on a Journey.